All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler podcast, powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. And we're back with El Capitan, Mr. Andy Full. As always, I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett. Andy, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. I had a pretty easy July. Just had a couple guys in from South Carolina, and we could only get on Erie once because the wind decided to finally blow. But the largemouth fishing was a lot of fun. So we caught them doing just about whatever we wanted to do. We were catching good ones on the two bodies of water we fished. So going out, scouting out bodies of water and then taking clients there's a real advantage to it, just like tournament fishing, practicing efficiently and learning like the proper areas of the water to fish will truly maximize your success on the water. So yeah, it was fun. I had pretty much the entire month off, talked about in the previous episode, I think the Tuesday Night Live, where we won a big derby, probably the biggest derby in Buffalo all summer, which is funny because it's only 25 boats. But yeah. But what's up with you?
Yeah, there really isn't any big derbs going out.
No,
there's going out of Erie, but just not out of Buffalo. Yeah. Right.
So like Ohio gets some big tournaments. Presque Isle struggles to get numbers for big money tournaments, but there seems to be good ones out of Sandusky almost every weekend. But up here in Buffalo,
it's weird. It's like not that it's a problem for us, but it's like it's odd.
You know what it is Ohio has a much larger bass fishing scene than New York, right? Like New York, you have the salmon fishery, you have the walleye guys, you have the perch guys, and then bass guys are like fourth fiddle to the other three. And as to our Ohio, they just have bass, perch, and crappie and sawguy because their Department of Wildlife just wants to stock sawguy in all their lakes. So,
well, our guest is an Ohioan, former Ohio. Is it Ohioan? Is that how you say the people from Ohio? But yeah. I'll take a jab at Jacob and our buddy Tanner Ward too. And that there's all these Ohio fishermen anglers. You say that Ohio bass presence bigger than New York, but they can't seem to stay out of New York. They only come here to fish.
Yeah,
fish in your own state.
Yeah. Well, New York's fishing is much better than Ohio. There's
I didn't know.
A couple lakes that are pretty good in Ohio, but they just can't really stick to what New York has to offer. Like we have Chautauqua Lake, and it seems like every weekend there's an Ohio derby there.
I'd like a 90 boat Ohio derby. Yeah, that's at Chautauqua, and I tease Tanner all the time. Well, I shouldn't say all the time, but there was 2 weekends in a row that I had our in the fall our state stuff at Chautauqua. And he was like, hey, I'm going to be at Chautauqua this week. And we have like 80 boats. I'm like, son of a, I just can't get away from it. I mean, I was in Ohio too. I would totally come up to New York and fish every single time. But just funny. I just throw those jabs out there. If I was in the same with the PA guys. I always like to tease the PA guys that come up to New York every weekend to fish. Oh, yeah. But for throughout this episode, just a fair warning, I should say, for folks. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if my voice squeaks like an eighth grader, that is why. So feel free to let me have it though in the comments.
Did you catch that new COVID going around?
No, I caught the my fiance left for a bachelorette weekend, came back sick, and got me sick. Oh, that's what I caught.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice. Now you're gonna get me sick on Thursday. Great. Can't wait.
No, it's like a small thing. I should beat it. I've been dousing meds and orange juice and all that crap today, so we should be good. But I'm excited for today's show. We got our good buddy Mr. Jacob Foutz coming back on, and we're gonna get him on here in a few minutes. But I have a couple things I wanted to get to before we got Jacob on. Was this past Friday's show. So for folks that are watching this or listening to this now that haven't listened to our episode 1 previous, it was very short. It was like a 25-minute show, but I talked about the importance of while you and I on the show, Andy, talk so much about learning and taking fishing seriously, hence, serious angler and tournament stuff and this and that, and how it's important to not forget the reason why we're all in this sport to begin with is for the fun of it. And the feedback that I got from that show, from DMs to the Serious Angler page, to people that emailed, to people that reached out to me personally, to people that texted me that I knew, That was super cool. And there's a lot of people saying, man, that was a breath of fresh air. Appreciate you for bringing me back to the roots, hit home, like things like that. That was super, super cool. And I'm really glad
Yeah.
you did that show because all this crazy talk about tournaments and this nonstop lifestyle and people cheating and the future of fishing and all that stuff. It's so overwhelming. I think while that's good to talk about, it was good to step back from all the negative and at least talk about, hey, there's a lot of positive when it comes to fishing because fishing is fun. That's the reason we're in it. We might get caught up in tournament life and all that jazz, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for fishing to begin with. So
speaking on that topic, I have to go back and listen to it. But did you hear about the walleye fishermen in New York State that got busted over the weekend cheating in a walleye tournament?
So I talk positive and you bring it back negative, Andy. Gosh dang it.
Sorry. Yeah, there was another
No, I didn't.
Another walleye tournament that basically same deal as what was happening in Ohio. No lead weights, but a couple guys were stuffing walleye inside of walleye to make them way heavier. And basically they cut open the fish. I'll see if I can find the post. I saw it this morning and I forgot to share it. But guys were like cutting walleye in half and shoving it inside a fish. And they cut them open and they called DC like right on the spot and the guys got ticketed. So
I hope they're banned from all tournament fishing and I hope the world never finds out about them because this is the crap that I hate is that these outlets that the rest of the world sees that aren't fishing people that can look past this. Like they only share the bad stuff. So I'm not even going to acknowledge it. We're going to move past it and we're only going to focus on the positive of fishing. But as I say that, a couple positives. I know where Jacob's sitting here waiting, like, what the heck, guys? Bring us in the show already. Shout out to our boy Joseph Fuentes on win numero dos of the year. One largemouth fishing and one smallmouth. That's pretty cool. But also, big shout out one to our boy Foutz who top 10 this event, but two, our boy Luke Palmer. Who the hell knew that he knew anything about freaking smallmouth? I was giving him a little bit of razz after the event over text. I'm like, who are you? When did you learn how to fish for smallmouth? Until the clip came out, he was cracking them on casting gear. And then we're like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
You know what? When I think he was throwing a tube.
Yeah, it was a tube.
The casting gear. It took me back to spring because I did that for like a 2-week period with like 12-pound fluoro.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hitting them with everything I had in like 25 foot of water. And I was like, I want to do that again. So I rigged a tube up for my tournament tomorrow on casting gear and 12-pound tests just because I want to catch one that way.
I'm pretty sure it's how Christy was catching them.
Yeah, a couple years ago too, cracking it out of the sand grass.
Yeah, we're going to break down that event with Jacob here. The last thing I want to mention, and Andy, I have goodies for you. I haven't even showed you this yet.
Oh, geez.
But I have a present for you. This is from Ryan Matsura. Yes, he is related to Rob Matsura. Sent us these cool hats he made. The St. Lawrence bronze backs.
Cool.
Freaking sweet little hat, like nice mesh hat. And what's sick about it, dude, it's got all this like fishing graffiti on the bill.
That's dope.
It's freaking sick, and it's a flat brim, so it screamed your name. But he reached out and he's like, "Hey, I want to send you guys these hats. I'll have to figure out if he's got them for sale anywhere." He never mentioned anything about a website or nothing, but he sent them to Deacon as well, and I thought they're freaking cool. We got to go catch some smallmouth with that hat now. But
yeah,
shout out to Ryan Matsura. That was freaking sweet. But yeah, wanted to mention that. But I think without further ado, so he's not sitting in the queue all freaking night long, our boy Mr. Jacob Foutz. What's going on, dude?
Yeah.
It's good. What's going on, boys? How are you?
Good, man. Lumberjack, how you doing, man?
I know, dude. How you like the beard?
You're catching up. You might have passed me, bud.
Had to get rid of the hair on top, so I had to keep it somewhere, you know.
Yeah, it just transferred. That's where it's all going.
That fisherman's balding I got going on, so had to cut off the flow, mainly because I wasn't catching no bass. I'm a little bit superstitious, so you go 8 missed cuts in a row, you're like, something's got to go here. Something's got to give.
I'm right with. Are you
like the socks, the pants, or the hair? Right?
Oh, I'm really superstitious. Like I have certain outfits I'll wear on certain days of the tournament, when I start catching them. It'll be the same for every tournament until
I'm rolling. He's like, same shirt, same pants, same underwear, all the way through day 4. Let's go.
I have no joke. I have certain outfits I wear. I have this pair of pants I wear on Thursday, this pair of pants on Friday, this pair of pants on Saturday, this pair of pants on Sunday. Same thing with a shirt. Get up at the same time every day. Do that. I'm like, I'm a little bit.
I like it.
I'm a little bit crazy.
It's like the Pipkins, the salmon pants on Sunday, or Brock Mosley wears the different color jersey when he makes it to championship Sunday. It's the same deal.
Yeah. I mean,
Superstition. I'm with you there.
I'm a fisherman. I'm a little crazy as it is, so
yeah.
I just take it to our level a little bit.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. Where if it's like you have a really good day, or you win a tournament or something, and you like look at what you're wearing that day or something, you're like, okay, I got to do the same exact thing.
Oh, dude,
I had a hat that I was when I was riding my hot streak for a while. That was one of my hummingbird hats that literally was like starting to grow mold in it because I was sweating so bad in the dang thing.
Dude, I'm the same way. I had a hat I wore all year last year. This one is going to be worn the rest of the year.
What is it? What hat is that?
This is it's a Max Prairie Wings hat.
It's just that
Max Prairie Wings is a big. It's a big it's a big outdoor store in Arkansas. It's big with duck hunters and stuff out in Arkansas. And my good buddy Trevor, if he's watching, is gracious enough to let me go to Arkansas and hunt with him.
That's pretty cool.
So it's a duck hunter's paradise. You don't go in there and not spend $200 at least. Same with us fishermen. You go in a tackle store, you go in there for two things, you come out with 15. You spend $200 every time.
Yeah, you go into Dayton Boat Dock and you're like, okay, I just need like a jig or two, and then you come out and it's like, oh, how did I get $200 worth of jerk baits? And
dude, I tell you
what I was actually getting.
I tell you what's bad with me, dude. I'll go into the tackle store for one thing. I'll go in there and get everything but what I went in there to get.
Always, because you get sidetracked. And you're like, oh, gosh darn it.
It's inevitable. I'll leave and I'll be like, dadgummit, I forgot what I needed, and I had to turn around and go back in there and get what I needed.
Yeah.
I'm back.
That's the power of online shopping, man. I've done that where I'm going to make an Omni order of what I need, and I see like, oh, sale on something, and I make an order and I order it, and I'm like, damn it, I didn't even order what I went out there to go order.
Yes, I'm putting in another one.
Yeah. Thankfully now it's like on the app, dude, where I'm like sitting there, like I'll be on the water, I'm like looking through my stuff, I'm like, oh, ran out of that bait, and I pull up that app and I just drop ship and order type of deal, and it's like easy that way, but it's also dangerous because I spend way too much money doing it.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of spending way too much money on fishing tackle. I've got more tackle than I know what to do with, and somehow it just keeps accumulating. And it's a life of a fisherman, right?
Yeah.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
So before we start talking about St. Clair and catching up with you, dude, one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys that I saw, this dude. I follow him heavily, more so on TikTok is where he's prevalent on. And I apologize to him because I believe he listens to the show. And his last name, I apologize if I butcher it. Ryan Anaya, I think he's friends with Swindle. Jacob, you might even know who I'm talking about. But he's been posting about his boy made the high school national championship. It was like 480 something boats for the Bassmaster the high school national championship.
Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. I think that's a little.
Where's the cap?
probably about 300 too many for a national championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, so I'm going to relate this to the kayak side a little bit here, but you'll understand my point is kayak bass fishing, the original trail, KBF kayak bass fishing had their national championship, and it started getting kind of not really made fun of, but more downgraded in regards to the pedestal people would hold it on, because after a couple of years, it'd be like 800 people going to Kentucky Lake to fish for them. And it's like, at that rate, how is it prestige? How is it like this big accoladed event if everybody and their mother can qualify for it? Where it's like a national championship, 480 boats. One, how is that really something that feels special, to your point, Jacob? Something that's smaller in numbers, harder to get to, I feel like if it's a national championship, 480 boats is excessive.
That's way too
Let
much.
them all in.
Like for me, it just takes away from the, what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess like you said, the prestige of it. Like, like are we just taking everyone now? Like, are we just taking everyone? Like, no, like no offense to the teams that made it. This, if you made it, congratulations. I've been there. But like you have to cap it at some point, otherwise it doesn't. It's not a. It seems more like an open tournament than a championship.
Well, and Fred had the comment here. It's all about the bucks, which I think plays a heavy part in that. But at the same point in time, when you got 480 boats, let's say let's say half the boats, 240 boats, all get 5 fish. And these are high school anglers. I'm not saying that. I mean, there's some damn freaking good high school anglers, really knowledgeable kids that. But I mean, say the other half, they don't know how to take care of their fish. They don't know, from a conservation standpoint, how is this smart? I can't imagine the scene leaving that weigh in, what that looked like.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't pretty. I think they tried to take some precautions with that by moving it to a 3-fish limit, but
Was it 3 fish?
Yeah, they moved it back to 3 fish.
At least it's 3 fish, but still, that's
but still, it's July. It's in South Carolina. It's hot. The water's 85 degrees. It's mortality rate's probably going to be a little higher than usual, especially at that level.
Right.
Not taken away from anyone there. It's just, that's just unfortunately the way it is.
Yeah. I don't want to dwell into it too much, but I wanted to bring it up. I just think that's a little, not really a little. I'll take that back. I think it's a lot excessive.
It is. It's very excessive. I feel like it should be capped at 100 people for a championship.
Yeah. And I think that if anything, that just makes it like it puts it higher on a pedestal from trying to get there.
But, there's more. It's harder to get there, and then the teams that get there are probably going to be the best of the best. You know what I mean?
Anthony, guys here says scene was dead fish, Monster energy drinks, and Axe body spray. That's a fact.
So what you're trying to say was it smelled like a high school boys' locker room. Is that what
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Good gosh.
Always with the fire.
Yeah. So, dude, I texted you a little bit. We were talking when you were before St. Clair, when you were on your way up that way. You seem pretty excited to head up that way. And I think people forget, one, that you're from Ohio. But two, just because you're in Tennessee now, like, you're very comfortable with smallmouth.
Yeah, I mean, dude, to be honest, I feel like I probably feel more comfortable around smallmouth than I do even on Tennessee River. I just feel at home when I'm fishing for true northern smallmouth. Not like going to South Dakota last year. Like those weren't true smallmouth. Those are
aliens.
Those are smallmouth that want to be spotted bass. Is what those are.
Yeah.
those aren't true smallmouth. But no, I definitely always really, 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 really look forward to going up north, especially anytime Lake St. Clair, Champlain, St. Lawrence, anywhere that's like I consider St. Clair a Great Lake. Basically, it's a great lake to me. But
I think
if I get to fish on a Great Lakes, I feel at home.
And why would you think? Is it just from a time standpoint, or just from how it sets up? You just kind of translate well too, or
I don't really know how to explain it. I spent a fair amount of time on Lake Erie, but I've always gotten smallmouth for some reason. Like it's always come easy to me. Like just from I just understand them, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. I just get it. It's always come pretty easy to me. And everywhere I've been, besides South Dakota, if it's been if it fishes like a true smallmouth fishery, I've always seemed to do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, I think you can relate to that. Where as much as you love to go inland for largemouth because you spend every single day on Lake Erie, but when you get on a Great Lake, like you can explain that too. Is like you mesh. Like there's really no thinking. You just kind of understand where to start to look for them.
Yeah, the biggest thing with smallmouth is understanding where they're going and why. And if you understand that, they set up differently based on wind and current. But if you understand current like this much, you can catch way more smallmouth than like the average person, just by understanding current and wind-driven current in the way they want to set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's minor details like what rock they're on, or are they in like a channel swing, or are they on a ledge of a shoal, and they reposition daily based on the conditions. But it's just understanding what to look for and why they're there, and it's easy for the most part. There's days where I'll humble you and you'll be like, why aren't they here? They should be, but that's fish.
Freaking smallmouth.
Yeah. Like, you were here for the last 2 weeks. Why did you move?
Nothing changed. Yeah, I feel like we have those with every fish.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, going into St. Clair, like leading into practice, where was your mind at in regards to what you're going to go look for? Like, what was the thought process?
You know, on St. Clair, it's usually pretty easy. You know, like for people that don't know, St. Clair's basically featureless. It's basically Lake Okeechobee without the grass. Essentially, is what it is. It's just a little deeper, and there's no emergent vegetation. It's featureless. You know before you get there that the smallmouth are this time of year probably going to be around a sandy spot, some kind of big sandy area, and they're probably going to be around the sandgrass in some form or fashion. You know, it's not like like you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting before you get there. Like they say, you're not supposed to have preconceived notions and this, that, and the other. But you know when you show up to a Great Lake or Lake St. Clair, any of them, you know what you're getting. Like there's really no secret, so it's pretty easy to start. You just like on Lake St. Clair, you can just get. There's so many fish in it, dude. You just get out there in the middle and just drift. Eventually, you'll run into them somewhere. Like there's no there's no
rhyme or reason.
There's a rhyme or reason, but there really isn't, if that makes sense. If there's a bare sandy spot, there's probably going to be a group of smallmouth there.
Yeah. So if there's some sort of feature,
so
they're going to be there.
I tell you what I did the first morning of practice. I put my boat in the water. I put my graph on one side on mapping and one side on 2D sonar because I have a through hull transducer, right? I just took off running at 30 miles an hour, and I ran until the grass stopped, and I sat down, stood up and fished, and threw my live scope down and just started scanning around. And within 10 minutes, I had caught 3 big ones, and I'm like, well, I already know what I'm looking for, so I would just
that'll do.
I would run until I saw a bare spot and stop and throw my live scope down, and look around and see what was there, and
talk about being efficient.
No, it's honestly, I was kind of upset I didn't have like a live scope at the back of my boat, so I didn't ever have to stood up. If I would have had to never stood up or stand up and throw my trolling motor down, I could have covered twice the amount of water I did in practice just with live scope. Like,
is it Koya that has I heard 5?
He's got 5. He's got 3 up front and 2 on his transducer, or 2 out his trans. I'm sorry.
So
and I'll just talk about how scoping affects fish attitude, but that guy doesn't have an issue catching them.
No, he has one of the sickest clips of the weekend. That thing was pretty sweet. So if I understand this correctly, Jacob, he has on the front, he has 2 facing forward to make a larger beam, correct?
Yeah.
And then 1 that's in perspective, I believe it's called.
Yeah, he's got up front. He's got your 2 regular 30 LVS 34s, and then he's got the big saltwater one, which I believe is the
XR or something like that.
62 or something, 62, 64. He's got the big one.
That's insane.
Yeah, so he's got a pretty sick live scope setup. I'll give it to him.
He's probably got to have a pretty big hefty battery setup too.
Oh, he's got to, dude. There's no way he doesn't.
He doesn't have rods in his boat. He just has batteries.
He's got 36 volt 40 amp power going to that bad boy.
He's got 6 or 7 batteries back there, dude.
Good God.
Running that many black boxes and that many live scope transducers, and
whoever rigs his boat is working for their money.
They earn their money for sure, no doubt.
Good gosh.
Oh God, that's rocket science right there, man. You need Elon Musk to rig that boat.
No kidding.
Don't pull the wrong wire. It's going to be a mess.
That's insane. Good gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that.
What the way you were trying to break that down, were a lot of guys doing the same thing, or?
I feel like everyone was kind of doing the same thing. Like, it was no secret. At least I didn't feel like it was any secret going into the tournament that the majority of the fish would be caught live scope, and I didn't feel like that would be any secret. Mm-hmm. I knew going into it that it would be very much an area deal. You had to be in the right area. that, Lake St. Clair's notorious for having areas that have your better quality, and then they'll have areas where it's just 3-pounders, which, most people, areas with 3-pounders, that's a pretty good area. But on St. Clair, that's
Not
that's
up north.
that's a subpar area is what that is. You got to have a 4-pounder on St. Clair is worth its weight in gold. A 4 or 4.5 pounders is what you got to have. If you can catch 5 of those a day, you'll be in good shape. Like St. Clair's it's not like the St. Lawrence or Lake Ontario or you're gonna see a bunch of mid 20-pound bags. You're just not gonna see it. You're gonna see a lot of 20 to 22-pound bags.
Yeah.
And so, you'll see maybe 1 or 2 guys catch 24, 25 this time of year. So, going into knowing if you could catch probably 22 a day, you probably have a chance to win going into the last day.
See, I mean, I think the last 3 tournaments this year, if you had a 3-pounder, it's kind of worthless. Last 3 tournaments.
Dude, it's like we get to go to 3 really, really good fisheries, and I mean, honestly, I feel like anymore, a 3-pounder is now what used to be a 2 1/4 pounder in tournament fishing. Like 15 pounds now is what 12 pounds used to be 3 or 4 years ago. Like if you don't have at least 15 pounds, you're probably looking at missing the cut. 15 a day. Depends, unless we're at the Sabine River. But pretty
Isn't
much
that crazy though? Isn't that
dude.
nuts? Because it seems like overall, a lot of lakes fishing in general is going down, but the weights are going up.
Well, yeah, that's all due to modern day electronics. Like the fish are getting smarter, but also the fish that are being caught are just a better quality fish. It's I'd say the bulk of fish that are caught now are caught with forward facing sonar and at a professional level and opens level Toyota Series, things like that. Most the bulk of the fish are getting caught using live scope, and I think the fish that are suspended and are chasing bait and stuff like that tend to be a little bigger. And the forward facing sonar has gotten so good to a point now where guys can tell you how big a fish is. And well, that's just a 2-pounder. I'm not going to throw it in, but that one there is a 3.5, so I'll throw it in and try to catch it.
So you think it's more of at your level, guys are more efficient in just focusing their targeting on bigger fish?
Yeah, dude. It's just the modern day electronics have come to a point where everyone's just way, way, way more efficient. Pretty much a guy anymore, he's always making a high percentage cast. You're not guessing anymore. Like if you're fishing brush, you roll up, you look with your live scope or whatever, and you're making a good cast every single time. Or if you're on a Tennessee River and you're on a ledge and there's a school of fish, you're bringing your bait through them every single time. There's no casting around trying to, and at Lake St. Clair, every time you made a cast, you knew you were throwing out a fish. So guys are just way more efficient than they used to be.
Mm-hmm. There was actually, Andy, I'd be curious. I mean, you might have obviously been busy guiding, but there was the live mix with Matty Wong and Kobe Krieger, where they were, I think, specifically talking about Koya's setup, the 5 different live transducers, and basically saying that if they're going to allow that, they were saying that you should put a limitation on the number of live transducers, but also saying if you're not going to limit that, then you can't limit baits. You need to bring back the A-rig into play. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I personally feel like if you have forward-facing sonar, you should be able to use an A-rig because the forward-facing sonar makes you so much more efficient. All the A-rig did was allow you to catch bigger bass, in my opinion. So now if you put the two together, who knows what would actually happen in these big tournaments.
I think people would see now they're complaining about these tournaments where guys are just staring down at the electronics all day, throwing, pitching at fish. Whereas I think if you allowed that, it'd be just every single person on live is throwing an A-rig.
Yeah, it's fair. Could you imagine, St. Clair, you got 5 live scope transducers. You see a guy chucking a 5-arm A-rig with 5 hooks on it, reeling in 5 5-pound smallies at the same time. People are like, that's it. This is too easy. Like, but there's more to throwing an A-rig than just casting and throwing it, in my opinion. Like, yeah, you can catch them casting and reeling it, but there's so much more to it than that.
What do you think,
So-
Jacob?
I've never from guys at our level, I've never understood why they would say why they think there should be a limitation. Like, Koya's running 5 live skills transducers, but everyone at our level has the same opportunity to run just as many if they want to. Like,
Yeah.
that's at the end of the day, that's on you. If it bothers you that bad, you can go get 5 transducers and run them on your boat. If that's what makes Koya more efficient, so be it. If you can't beat him because of it, join him.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not like these guys don't have the same opportunity that some of these guys are just, technology is evolving, and so it's either you adapt and evolve or get left behind. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think that is the unfortunate truth about professional bass fishing now. It's adapt or
Right.
die. It's pretty much the motto.
I mean, and it's always evolved over the years, so I don't
Right.
understand why it's such a big deal all of a sudden. Like,
I think because what it is while I agree with you, I think it's always evolved from baits to rods to these small, minute things I don't think we remember to simple down imaging to side imaging. Like, I wasn't as attentive to it, but I was told from folks that were around, heavy in the industry at the time that the reception that live scope got was the same reception that side imaging got back in the day, where people didn't want it because they thought that was cheating. Whereas I think I think it seems bigger and louder now with forward facing sonar because one, social media is a bigger thing. So the voice seems louder, but also 2, it's more intuitive. Therefore it's just a little bit flashier, which I think that's why people are making a big to do about it. But I mean, I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn on something like this where I agree with you in regards to if it's able to be done, like, adapt or die, but also why put a limitation on? Do I think the trail will ever put a limitation on it? No, because if the companies are giving them money, they're never going to limit the product that company's selling if they're being paid by such company. But I also understand it from a fan consumption level where the product might hurt because of there not being a limitation. Where I think personally, if there was a limitation, it might be good in regards to they were talking about if there was no limitation on that, then there shouldn't be a limitation on baits. Therefore, the A-rig should come back. And I think if the A-rig came back and there was no limitation on live scope transducers, the amount you can have, everyone on the trail and specific events would be throwing an A-rig. Every single person. What I mean? I think that wouldn't be great from a fan consumption. That's me looking at it from the business end.
No, I can definitely see it from both sides.
Right.
From the fan perspective and from my side as someone who does it for a living. Is a live scope tournament, is that as enjoyable to watch for a lot of guys? No, because I understand people don't want to sit there and watch guys just stare down at the screen all day and probably not say a whole lot because they're so locked in on what's going on the screen. And so the product it's probably not as, what's the word, maybe it's not as fascinating as it used to be. The what's the word I'm looking for here?
This is a pretty good comment here while you're thinking of that thought. Anthony says all the current anglers be fishing a Legends tournament in 30 years and all have foam neck braces on.
Dude, I tell you what, after 4 days of looking down at my screen, your neck does hurt.
Neck, your upper shoulders.
You got to get them crappie mounts that stand head tall with you.
Hey, I tell you what though, that's something that helped me. Just put a 21-inch screen on your butt. You don't have to strain so hard.
Screw it. Just go a 60-inch LCD, man.
A big enough air sound.
And just make sure you put it at an angle to where you can't hit it with your tungsten weight and crack it.
I tell you what, I got a 21-inch screen on the front of my boat, and I thought I was kind of nervous about it that I was going to be hitting it a lot, especially when I'm flipping or just stuff happens. But I tell you what, I haven't hit it one single time, and it's not been an issue.
I find this topic so interesting.
Bailey, I want to see a 21-inch screen on your kayak. You gotta do it.
Do you think you could do it, dude?
Dude, I'll go all out. Like, I'll try to put my 70-inch TV I have at home, put it on that on the kayak.
He might need like one of those foam like roller braces that they put on the one side for balance. So
I'll just set that stuff up. Don't even for an April Fool's Day. That's what I should do. Just put a dang 60-inch TV on the kayak, and just for clip's sake.
Dude, could you imagine the looks you would get?
Dude, I'd get torched on social media. It might be worth it.
Doubt.
We're probably giving somebody an idea. We're gonna see this on Instagram tomorrow.
Dude, when I put that 21-inch on my boat, I thought for sure I was gonna get flamed on social media. Like, I thought for sure people were gonna be all over me about it. But dude, I've only had like 2 bad comments.
Yeah, and I won't even go into that. Dude, I don't know. I love the fact that the bigger screen. I just think one makes sense, but I don't know, man. The whole I could go back and forth on this stuff all day, but to not beat a dead horse because every other show and every other person and their mother is talking about this, I'm more curious about your event. And one, I want to say, in talking to you a little, like very minutely throughout the event, I don't bother you, but I like to at least like shoot you a text after a good day or whatever, or even bad day, whatever. I love your mentality, man. I love the underdog mindset that you have, and I think that is something that's going to assist you over time.
Yeah, look, dude, here's the deal. Going into this tournament, I'm gonna be honest with you, like my status on the Elite Series is up in the air. Like I had such a bad stretch of tournaments from the end of last year through this whole season. I wasn't. After the Sabine, I don't think I've ever been any lower on myself than what I was for a few days after the Sabine. Like, I think, I started to doubt whether if I still belonged or not. Because money starts getting tight. The writing's on the wall. You understand if you don't start to perform, something you've worked for 22 years of your life can go away, in a snap of a finger because you didn't perform, you weren't consistent enough. Just, things happen on the water and it's out of your control. But after you miss the cut in 8 straight tournaments where nothing goes your way, you feel like you're always behind the 8 ball. You're like, or you're always one bite away and it never comes. And it's one thing after the other. You get down on yourself, and dude, after the Sabine, like, I had thoughts that I was gonna quit. Like, I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this anymore. I'm not enjoying this. Like, I don't think I belong out here anymore. Like, I didn't understand. I don't understand why it was happening, and all my friends and family were like, dude, stop. Just like, you belong. You belong. 6 months ago, you had, you last year you had 2 opportunities to win, which is hard to do. Like, you were right there twice. You had a real shot to win 2 tournaments. You belong. If you made it, you belong. And I'm like, hey, you know what? You're right. I've got 3 tournaments. I have to catch them to requalify for the Elite Series next year. Your back's against the wall. You're going places that your confidence is already going to be up just because it's a smallmouth tournament. You feel like you should always be a player. And just going to St. Clair, I'm like, I'm just going to go have fun, dude. This feels like home. Just go have fun. Just go catch them. Don't worry about anything else. There's nothing you love more than catching a smallmouth. Just go have fun. And I showed up and practiced, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, this is a lot of fun.
That'll do.
But you know what? It was after the Sabine, I got home, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to book as many guide trips as I can, and just spend as much time on the water as I can, and try to try to fall in love with fishing again. And that's what I did. And I got in what I call a heater at the house. I was just catching a fire out of them here at home. Like, it was so much fun. I was having so much fun, and that kind of brought back the fire again. You know, going into St. Clair, I was in a pretty good headspace. So, and I think that showed. Finished sixth. That's a pretty good showing against those boys. I don't care what anyone says. You know,
Oh yeah.
going into the last day, and if you're, I was only 2.5 pounds back, so you got a real shot at winning. That's not a lot, not a lot to overcome. So if you can just get yourself in position to win against those boys, that gives yourself a whole lot of confidence. And it was really nice to have things go my way again, or even when something didn't go my way, I didn't get flustered. I always felt like I was going to catch a big one after something happened, or I'd throw it a couple big ones and they wouldn't bite, or just stuff that might have flustered me there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just, I felt back to how I felt when I was on a roll last year when things were going good. Like, I was just fishing and not worrying about anything else. I was just worried about the next cast.
Yeah. Nah, I feel like that's a good headspace to be in. And I mean, you mentioned it where you're going in a headspace. You want to just have fun. I think that's the biggest key we come back to all the time is that the guys that are doing well in tournaments typically are guys that are going in with a clear headspace that they're free. Either it's the guys that, backs against the wall that are like, I'm going to go have fun. It's the guys that have the mojo going, like a Luke Palmer, and then it's a guy that's just on home turf. That's usually what you see in like that top 20.
And look, for a lot of guys, the fishing industry is hard. It's just, especially if you want to do it at a professional level, the fishing industry is just hard. There's not just a bunch of guys that make a whole lot of money from on the sponsor side of things, and there's a lot to be said about your financial situation, and just when you add that on top of that stress on top of the tournament side of things, it's just a whole nother side of it that people don't see, I think. And it's, everyone will tell you, well, just tune that stuff out, dude. Well, dude, that's way harder than you think. You can't do it. It's always there. It's always in the back of your mind. Like, like, dude, it got to a point to me, like, I would go out fishing and it felt like someone had their hands around my neck, and as the day got on, they were just squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter, and I couldn't shake it. Like, I couldn't loosen up and just fish and have fun, because I was always worried about, well, I got to make a 50 cut. I got to make a 50 cut. I got to make a check. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said about that. And I think at the end of the day, I think the guys that are consistent, continually do well, are able to put that stuff aside and just fish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to do when you get in a roll. Like, it really is. It's because you're just out there fishing, you're just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's not going your way, there's your mind's constantly going. You're like, you kind of get in your own head, which is.
Well, and it's easier said than done. But then there's guys that anglers that are able to acknowledge when the gears are moving and they're accelerating too fast, and they're able to stop them, to take a breath for a second, and just that simple slowing down for a second can help the brain get back on track. And I think you're doing a better job of that. And I think it's something you're probably working on, especially if you're going into the end of the season, is that you're acknowledging, because you being here talking and saying that, I think is going to help you acknowledge when that is happening.
Yeah, like, I knew, like, going into this year, I knew what was on the line. Like, after the last two last year, I was pretty upset because I was in a good place in points going into those two tournaments. And, I was like 25th in points going into the last two, and I had two really, really bad tournaments and ended up missing the Classic. And I kind of think it broke me a little bit, like, because the whole reason I fish is to fish the Classic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one tournament I want to fish every year. Like, that's why I fish, and to have, like, the one thing that couldn't happen at the end of the year happened, and it like I guess I don't know if I get something like it broke me inside a little bit. Like I was pretty upset, and going into this year, I was like, I was fine, and then go the first one at Okeechobee, and I had boat trouble the second day, and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. Then I go to Seminole and lose a great big one the first day and miss the cut because of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not how you want to start the year. And then we went to Murray. I felt like I was catching them there, and it turns out I wasn't catching them because everyone else was really catching them. And well, I had a really good practice, and I still finished middle of the pack. Like, whoa. And then you go to Santee Cooper, and it's like you feel like you're doing okay. You feel like you get a sign at the end of the first day, and you're like, okay, I got something to roll with. And then you go out there, and it's like, well, that was not what I thought it was. And you're like, oh boy, this ain't good. And then you go to Lay and don't catch them there, and then you go to Sabine and you really don't catch them there, and it's like, okay, do I suck all of a sudden? Do I not belong right here or what? But no, it's I recognized it, but I wasn't able to stop it. Like I just couldn't. Like, I just needed one thing to go my way to where I could just settle down and fish.
Yeah, and that's a defeating feeling in the moment. It's like you acknowledging, hey, I know I'm spinning out and I can't stop.
Yeah, I knew I was spinning out and I couldn't stop it, and I don't know why I couldn't stop it. That's what really frustrated me. I think it really set me down the wrong path for a while. I just was in such a bad headspace there for a really long time. Like I just didn't think it felt like I belonged. Like I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But no, it's I've the month and almost 2 months we had off was a really good thing for me. Like I was able to reset and just get back to having fun again.
Well, as Andy says all the time, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes by
damn
the minute.
Fact.
Sometimes by the minute.
Andy, honestly, I'm trying to remember which show. I think this was it was Mercer and Zona. It was a really if any of you guys listening or watching do not listen to Mercer's show yet, you really need to, because it is unbelievably good. But in that show with Zona, they were talking about Ike and how Ike is like 10 minutes he is the highest of high, and the next 10 minutes it's the lowest of low. Andy sometimes can be the same way. Oh, yeah. Andy sometimes, like, he'll be in a dumps and he's like, I don't know if it's the right thing, maybe we should move. We freaking suck. And then he cracks one, he goes, Jesus, awesome, we're doing this for the rest of the day. Like, it's a switch. And it's kind of what it is, though, right? I mean, same for you, Jacob, where it's just like you have the highest to highs, and it can switch on a dime, and vice versa.
And a lot of times too, it's just finding something to help like recenter your thoughts, right? Like if I'm swinging and I'm collapsing, like I'll go and sit down and eat a sandwich for a minute and just like breathe, or pick up something completely different to reset my mind thought, and then go. Fishing is a funny sport in the fact that at any second, any cast can take a change, but it can also go really. Like when I'm trying to skip boat docks and boats behind me 100 feet off the bank, 5-foot waves. So
your mic's fading, Andy.
Oh, interesting. And I was gonna say, what I was saying is like when you're skipping boat docks and then that one jet skier decides to run like 15 feet off the side of your boat and kicks away because you blow a big backlash on a freshly spooled reel. Like that's when I start spiraling. That's the shit that just pisses me off. I'm like, Like, I'm pretty sure I've like two-handed chopped rods into the water before because of like 5 jet skis in a row.
Jacob, there was a team tournament that Andy and I fished where there was literally, we were fishing docks and we were catching them. And there was literally a boat that came by and there's 4-foot waves going into this dock. And Andy tries to skip it and gets mad that he can't skip. I'm like, just wait 30 seconds. Like,
no,
then you can skip.
It was the last hour of the tournament. Every second counts, and we needed a couple bites.
I understand it. I get so locked in sometimes. I'm like, I don't have a care in the world what's going on around me, and I'm like, I got 50 minutes. I'm gonna maximize every second of this one. Sometimes you probably just need to take a step back, breathe. It's all gonna be just, you're good. You just need one bite. Just your day can change in fishing. Your day can always change in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Well, dude, so keeping this real, you mentioned it, backs against the wall. What do you need this year to stay in things?
I'm just trying to get myself back in the top 70 in points, because the top 70 in points gets an automatic invite back next year, and then everyone outside of that, it's based off your average angler of the year finish, right? So it's a 2-year average. And even though I had a good year last year, I say a good year, I finished 49th in points, which is it's an average year.
Keeps you in it, yeah.
Yeah, if you average a 49th place AOY finish, you're doing pretty good. You're doing decent. You're missing a classic, but you're right there. You're right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for a 2-year average, if you have a 49th and then you bomb and finish 90th in points, well, your average is, you're in the 70s. So, and that, if you average a 70th place AOY finish in the Elite Series, that's going to get you the boot eventually. And I don't know how many we're cutting this year. I don't.
Seems like that's always changing too.
We never really know. They tell you a number and then it changes 17 times before the end of the year. But anyway, I'm just trying to get back in the top 70 in points, so I don't have to worry about it. And I had it figured before St. Clair that if I average like a top 22 in the last 3, I would probably put myself really, really, really close. So, off to a good start. We just need to go have 2 solid tournaments at Champlain and St. Lawrence, and it won't be nothing to worry about. And I really feel like I'm going to. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to win. I feel like I've gone through enough, and I don't know, dude. I have this feeling. I get in these zones. I got in one last year where I was catching them good, and I feel like I've got back in one now where my confidence is sky high, and I feel like they don't. I get a chip on my shoulder. It's a really weird deal. Like, I'll get a chip on my shoulder, like, where I'll go into stretches where I feel like no one, I don't have anyone's respect. So I'm like, okay, bet I'll show you.
Yeah, and that's what I love. That's what I love about you is those, because I'll text you like during tournament or practice, and I'll see some of that come out, like the way you'll talk, and I'm like, that underdog mindset, that like, all right, challenge accepted type deal, like that. I feel like that is a good mindset to have. It's not a cockiness. It's not an arrogance. It's a confidence in, let me show you. I think that speaks volumes.
It takes just one tournament for me where I'll catch it. I'm like, all right, bet I'm coming now. Like, I'm feeling it now. I'm coming. They better catch them because I'm going to catch them.
Yeah. And so I think this is what needs to happen is the next few fantasy fishings is we can go back and clip this, and I'll have to even send you it, Jacob, was I think, I don't know if it was Andy or it was Boomer. Somebody's like, I'm surprised you're not taking your boy Foutz in fantasy. And because I took red wine in that last bucket. And I said, well, I know if Jacob's going to do good. I think red wine's going to have a good tournament here. But every time I pick Jacob, I feel like I'm that superstitious where it's like, I'm done picking Jacob because I picked you at St. Lawrence last year. And I'm sitting there after day 1, I'm like, hell yeah. Let's go. And then it didn't fan out the way you wanted to. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done picking Jacob. I'm done picking buddies now. It's like, it's a funny deal. But no, I think I have to just, I have to doubt you more in fantasy fishing.
See, I like when people doubt me because I
go.
gotta show everyone that they're sleeping on me, dude. They sleep on me.
I'm gonna send you a video of me going my fantasy and like go over your name, be like, nah, I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm just gonna text you and piss you off during practice.
Hey, listen, I might disappear for a while, but when I show back up, buddy, look out! I'm coming. I promise.
I hope so, man. I'd love to see that. Well, Champlain, dude, how you feeling?
Good. I'm excited, dude. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the last 2. I'm like, I really feel. I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm gonna win one before the end of the year. Like, I just feel like it's my time. Like, in the past 3 years, I've put myself in numerous positions to win, to have a shot to win going into the last day. And one of these days, I'm gonna kick the door down and I'm gonna win. So I just want to get myself in position.
Get it done.
And so, dude, I love that mentality, and some people might think that, hey, you might be getting ahead of yourself, or the superstitious people were like, hey, do you go knock on wood or whatever? But like, I think it was Brandon Polnick that said something. I can't quote it verbatim, but essentially it was like, one, his goal is to win every single tournament of the season. Two, it's you have to go into that mindset of every tournament that you're going to win that tournament. You have to envision it. You have to, you have to almost force a dream in your brain. Like he was talking about how he takes time, whether it's the night before the tournament or the morning of launch, where he puts headphones in and envisions the day, or like the week, leading up to a tournament. He like before he's going to bed, he envisions winning that tournament in his head. That's just it's a manifesting thing that you have to do to get your brain in the right mindset. So that alone, dude, I think we have some people in the comments. I won't put them up because I'm superstitious too, but I think you're gonna have nice percentage for fantasy fishing this.
No, call it whatever you want to call it, but like at the end of the day, I show up at the tournament, and if like I go to win. I don't, there's no point showing up to fish for a check. I'm going to win. That's why I fish I want to win. I don't want to finish second. I don't want to finish third. Is it nice to have those finishes, and is it nice to get that cash money that comes with it? Absolutely, it is. Because in fishing, unfortunately, you do not win every one. You have a very small percentage of wins in the grand scheme of things. That's just
a
the
lot
way
of times
fishing is.
When it comes to winning a tournament, you're one bite away, or you had that one bite on and you lose the dang thing.
I think that's what one thing people don't realize is when these guys win, I don't think they realize how impressive it is, because literally everything has to go your way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even look at everyone in the top 10 at St. Clair, for example. At some point, they probably, everyone that didn't win probably had one or two fish that cost them a chance at having a chance, cost them a chance of possibly having a
So Fuentes had a 5-pounder jump in his boat.
Dude, when it's your time, it's your
Yeah.
time. Like, there is not one thing you can do to stop it. When it's your time to win, you're not going to be able to stop it. It's just going to happen.
And I feel like when you win, if you're on a roll, like you can do nothing wrong.
No, like when
your line can get wrapped up in the reel 7 times across your graph, and it'll be a 6-pounder. You still get it in.
Yeah, when things are going your way, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It just you just ride it as long as you can.
Train's on the tracks and you can't stop it.
All you can do is laugh and be like, I can't believe that just happened, and keep fishing.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't think people realize how impressive it is for Joey to win twice in 1 year. That is so hard.
There's not many people that have done it.
Like, it's incredibly hard to win once, let alone win twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really impressive. It really is.
That's a big deal, for sure. Well, dude, obviously 2 derbs left. Good finish on St. Clair. Keeping those vibes going, keeping that consistency up. Looking forward to cheering you on the next 2. But beyond that, is there anything coming up that the folks should know? Obviously, your social media links and everything are in the description. Like always, you guys need to follow this guy and get some guide trips if you're going down Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll be doing some guiding this off season. Chickamauga has been fishing better than I've seen it in a really, really, really long time. Just from a quality perspective, like the quality we were catching this summer was maybe as good as I've seen it in a really long time. So come take advantage of it while it's going. I don't know how long it's going to last or why it's going, but come down, book a trip with me, and we'll go out and catch some big ones. That's for sure. I'll have some time this fall, and definitely looking forward to the last 2. I've said it probably twice already, but I really feel like I'm going to win one before the end of the year. I really do. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I feel like I'm going to have at least one more shot to win before the end of the year.
Which one out of the 2?
I would prefer the St. Lawrence, because if you win that sucker, that's an automatic invite to the Classic. So
yeah,
but I'm not going to be picky. I'll take either one or both.
Or both. I like that too.
Double up. Hey, when momentum is on, and it can be done. I feel like a lot of times when you see people win, it's like back to back because that momentum, or they'll come in like second and then they'll win the next one, or they'll be in the top 10 and then win the next one, or win and then be in the top 10 or be in the top 10 and be in the top 15 the next couple. Momentum is huge.
Momentum comes in waves in fishing, and like I said, you ride it for as long as you can.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, dude, I know you started the YouTube channel this year. Where does that stand?
Oh boy, that's a story for another day.
That's like my YouTube channel.
Story for beer and not on live. Exactly. No, I got to a point this year where I was like, I just need to focus on catching them and not. I gotta worry about requalifying before I can worry about anything like that. So I kind of turned my focus away from that to just solely fishing, which might come back to bite me. But I just want to requalify. That's my biggest thing. I'll worry about everything else when I requalify.
Yeah, you got your process. Heck yeah. Well, buddy, always a pleasure. Always good talking to you. Holler at us on your way up to Champlain or on your way home and stuff.
Yeah, buddy, I might have to stop and say hello on the way. I have some free time.
I mean, whether it's fishing and beer and wings or both, you just let us know.
I want to stop in Buffalo and catch some smallmouth.
Well, I know a guy.
I know a couple of guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah. Well, give us a ring, dude. Yeah. And always good getting you on here as always. You know, you always got a seat. And dude, I'm excited to watch you the rest of the season.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Heck yeah, buddy. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again. And yeah, man, we'll chat with you real soon.
Peace. Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Dude, we do need to get him up here to old Buffalo. Get him some beer and wings and go lean on some biggins.
Yes.
But always good to get Jacob here on the show because he keeps it real, man.
Yeah,
he really does. We love all of our guests, but there are some that are willing to get into the shit. And what I mean by the shit is the real side of the tournament aspects that not many are willing to talk about. At least talk about transparently. And I love the mindset that he has from a confidence standpoint in himself, where he knows that it's like, hey, this is not me. This is not how I should be fishing. You know, don't sleep on me on the next one type of deal. I like that. And hopefully that holds true for the rest of the season. But again, guys, go support Jacob on his social media and stuff. We have that in the show notes for MP3 and YouTube. Give him a follow, especially, you know, get a guy trip. If you guys are going down Chickamauga, that dude is freaking
I might have to hit him up for that. I want to go fishing Chickamauga, and I have no issue paying somebody to go. So
I love Chick. Chick is fun.
Yes.
Chick is a lot of fun. But moving forward, one shout out quick. Our boy, Mr. Drew Gregory, is in the comments here. Shout out to Drew for coming from 24th place to second and almost winning the damn thing at the Hobie event down the New River, which looked very painful. And it looked like limits were hard, not from catching fish, but limits were hard in the fact that you couldn't catch a 12-inch fish because there's so many 8-inchers. But besides that, we have some pretty fun shows coming up. I'll walk you guys through the schedule here of what is coming up for Serious Angler. Pulling up the schedule here. We have, so coming up this week, we have Keith Carson for Friday's show.
It's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. And next Tuesday, we have, my calendar just messed up on me. Next Tuesday night live, we'll have Mr. Luke Palmer on the show.
Another frequent flyer as of recently. I like that.
Yeah, Luke's always on the show now. He's forced against his will, but we're going to get him and Jacob on tonight, but he's actually on vacation right now. The bastard. He's filthy rich on us now. He's too much of a big wig, but no, Luke's coming on tomorrow or next week on Tuesday Night Live, and we'll talk about how the hell he learned how to fish for smallmouth. And then next Friday's show will be with Terrence Gordwin. And Terrence Gordwin for you guys is Pond Boys on social media. You guys are probably known by Pond Boys. The dude makes some really cool content, kayak guy, boat guy, really cool inspirational angler. So we're going to get him on, talk fishing. And then we even have the next week. We're on a scheduling grind here, Andy.
Look at you.
So we got the next 3 weeks scheduled for you guys. So on the 14th of August, we'll have the Champlain Fantasy Fishing Show. Tuesday Night Live on the 15th will be Matt Steffen. Talk about his win, talk about the hover rig. And then for Friday's show, we're getting Mr. Jeff Queen from Queen Tackle and Master Cup Fishing on the show. Talk about the new trail that's coming this fall, new team trail. And we're going to be talking all about that. There's some pretty freaking big names in this new team trail format that he's dropping. So we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks.
Awesome.
Some pretty freaking cool stuff. And I want to say shout out to, I know I just mentioned Drew. I'd be remiss to not shout out RJ Hoover for winning that event too, which consistency in that event was super impressive. Which I love shouting out the kayak folk. And I just want to say, and this is probably dropping another clue to potentially what might be coming, but new show coming on October 1st. So here's a small little crumb for you guys, but we got them in the works. That sort of thing. You guys have probably heard that over the past few weeks, but new show in the works coming October 1st. As well as around that time, we'll have our episode 400. It's 391 right now. Let's see. We have we have 9 episodes. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So September 1st would be literally a month. Would be
really?
Our 400th episode.
Ooh, Labor Day.
So if we can hold that,
would it be September 2nd then? Because I think Tuesday's the 2nd, right?
Well, it would. September 1st is a Friday, so we might even have to have a Friday Night Live.
Interesting.
Which will be more festive. We can have more drinks.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta look at the calendar here.
I think so, because tonight is 391. It's be 392, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Yeah. 400, September 1st, the Friday. Let me guess, you're out.
Yeah, I might be at the Thousand Islands camping.
Boo. No, I'm just kidding. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Regardless. If we have to make it one more episode, we'll make it one more episode. Regardless. One thing I want to mention too, later this month on the 25th, I even have the next 3 or 4 weeks technically somewhat scheduled because we have fantasy fishing on the 21st, but I want to give the guy a shout out because I want to give you guys the schedule that far in advance, but I wanted to give him a shout out because he's a freaking hammer and he's a really good dude. Noah Schultz, Minnesota, won the Blackfish Classic. 15
Dude, that guy
grand.
just wins everything in Minnesota. I swear.
Yeah. Anything in the Midwest, the dude's going to win it.
Yeah.
Noah Schultz, super good dude on our Minn Kota trip. Got to fish with him a little bit, hang out with him for the week. Freaking hammer, amazing human being. And we're going to get him back on the show this month too. So you guys will have that coming. Which you might have remembered our first show with Noah was a really freaking good one.
It 100% was.
But yeah, you guys look forward to that September 1st. Pending what we can do around Andy's schedule, it might be the following week.
Sorry.
Yeah. Fun. I'm just kidding. Either way, it's gonna be a lot of fun. You guys look forward to that one because that will be the not so serious, getting rowdy. Maybe we'll take some calls, that sort of thing, and we'll have some fun. That'll be a few hour episode.
We'll call it the Dangler Hotline.
Yeah, there we go. It's our show, one show of the year. We try not to get canceled.
Yes. And if anybody who's tuned into them in the past, I do not recommend going back and viewing them.
Well, now they're gonna go back and view that.
Sorry.
Man. No, it's all good. Andy, great show today. A lot of fun. I actually poured a bunch of stuff, do it molds wise tonight.
I I saw the one picture you put up. It looked good.
Oh yeah,
It looked
poured
good.
some finesse swim bait heads. They came out with that, and then some. I might even play around with that new weedless darter jig that they made. I poured a few. I'm kind of curious. So I'm gonna play around with that. But yeah, if you guys want to get set up with it molds, obviously link down below. You guys can get set up. Looks like Steve got some of Ben Nowak's new baits, the Minobi, which I freaking love that name. Looks like you got some, Andy.
I had to buy them. I'm impatient, and I went looking for them, and I scoured the internet, and I found them, and they look good. I just did a Lure Lab episode on them because I wanted to do a first impression thing because we talked about Ben, and I thought of a couple like more techniques that I thought would work really well. So that's a really good episode if you want to go and check that out. It was uploaded Sunday because I went to go upload my episode Friday, and I've been having weird internet issues at my house. So thankfully it is working
Buffalo.
here. Like, oh, it's weird. My wife today had to do her last session on her phone because our internet just stopped working randomly. So I'm lucky that I've been able to hang in here the entire time, but I'm looking at my Wi-Fi signal on my computer because my router's upstairs. I have 1 bar right now. Normally I have 3. So if I drop out, that is why.
Yeah, you seem pretty good right now.
Yeah, I also bought some of these too because
Ooh.
Luke Palmer had to go and jack a bunch of fish on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got some goodies down here to experiment with. I'm going to put them in the boat in the morning and try them out and see what we can catch.
Heck yeah.
So,
with that being said, there are still a bunch of sales over at Omnia Fishing. There's 50% off of select products, which is pretty
Crash
wild.
Craw, right? Like, that's a good one.
There's a few of them, but also they have like some rods are 20% off, things of that nature. So it's pretty big stuff going on over there.
Good time to save some money. Might as well call it
That's right.
Christmas in July, even though it's slightly past at this point. But
July
can be fun.
Yeah. It is August 1st.
It's still Christmas in August. Bass Fisherman's Paradise.
Oh man! Well, folks, Andy, you got anything else for the people listening and watching? Right now?
I will throw this out there. If you want to book a guide trip, my August, I am basically full. I think I have 3 days left. September, I have about 8 days, and October, I think I have 3 days. So if you want to get out bass fishing, dates are getting really limited. The bite's going to start picking up here really good probably in the next week or two. So be on the lookout for a lot more content. I took almost the entire month of July off. Well, not inadvertently. I had some wind cancellations and haven't gotten them back on the schedule yet, but I only did 4 guide trips in all of July. Nice little reprieve, fish the tournament. And now we're getting back on the grind starting tomorrow, and I'll probably be on the water a ton besides my anniversary this weekend. So, yeah.
Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks. 6 years, and I think we've been together for almost 10 and married for 6. So we're doing all right.
Can you believe this guy? He freaking ditches my bachelor party because of his little anniversary. No, I was kidding.
Sorry. I feel bad.
No, it's okay. If there's any other reason, I would totally give you shit, but
you can.
Amanda comes first.
Yeah. She does sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
No, like I try to put family first all the time. Just sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So unfortunately,
it's Steve's this weekend as well.
Yeah. Hey, congrats Steve.
Oh, Andy, what do you think, man?
I think I'm going to go to bed here in a second for those who are tuning in because 4 a.m. comes very early. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Dang fact. Well, folks, appreciate y'all. You guys are amazing. Appreciate everybody that shows up for every live, as well as in the comments and everything on our shows in general, and that tunes in and listens. You guys are all awesome. Appreciate you. We'll see you on Friday.